In the early 17th century, many people in continental Europe considered North America a promised land because of its abundant natural resources and abundant land. Therefore, they find ways to reach this place, mainly by sea. Among the ships that reached North America was the Mayflower. It was a miserable voyage, but America's Thanksgiving originated on this ship to this day. In this video, we will divide it into two parts. First about the Mayflower ship, then learn about the meaning of Thanksgiving Day. Let's start now. Mayflower is the name of a sailing ship that entered American history when a group of Puritans did not accept the Anglican court, so they left England to settle down in the New World. A total of 102 people plus 30 crew members. They arrived in America to start a new life at the end of 1620. This story is used as a symbol of the adventurous spirit and religious beliefs of the American people and also the plot of Thanksgiving. American historians call them pilgrims because they went to find the promised land of God. Like all merchant ships of the 17th century, the Mayflower was designed to carry timber, dried fish, wine and wheat, rather than as a passenger ship because of its nearly square shape and high compartments. Like a castle, Mayflower is more suitable for short trips along the coast of Europe than fighting the strong winds of the North Atlantic. However, before the wave of migration to the Promised Land, Captain William Bligh decided to use it to take 41 people across the sea. The voyage was originally intended to involve two ships, the Mayflower and the Speedwell, departing from Southampton, England at the end of July for Virginia, but had to be delayed until early August because the Speedwell was leaking. Although he tried to repair 2 or 3 times, but in September, the autumn weather could not be delayed anymore. Captain William Bligh decided to go alone rather than wait for the Speedwell. 61 people on board the Speedwell were transferred to Mayflower, bringing the total to 102 people, of which 61 people just said are skilled craftsmen, bakers, chefs, 2 pregnant women and more than 10 children, not to mention 37 crew members. The ship set sail on September 16th. The first few weeks the weather was calm, the sea was calm, but then there was a storm, big waves, strong wind, it seemed like the ship was sinking. On November 19th, the ship found land at Cape Cod, but wanted to proceed down to Virginia, so the ship continued southwest. Unfortunately, the wind caused the ship to drift back to Cape Cod to anchor. It was November 21st, 1620. The site is now Provincetown. During nearly 2 months of crossing the Atlantic, a doctor died and a baby was born on board. Owen, a Scotsman who was a guest on the ship, said, "When we got to the Atlantic Ocean, we were constantly hit by big waves. It threw the Miserable from one wall to the other. There were waves. It was too big. It pushed us to the bow when the boat went down and then back when the boat turned up." At first, some people tried to hold on to the wooden wall, but after a few waves, they gave up. Before disembarking, all the families on board co-signed the Mayflower Compact, the first administrative contract of the group established in Massachusetts. On November 27th, 24 passengers and 10 sailors went ashore to search for a suitable settlement. When they set foot on the ground, they all knelt down to pray, thanking God for their survival, but they did not know that a harsh winter awaited them. A few days later, all the remaining people on the ship also came ashore. Fortunately, they have the very dedicated help of the native Indians. Captain William Bligh said those who arrived at the Promised Land received gifts of 3 baskets full of corn seeds and 10 bags of beans, enough for the first growing season. However, the cruel fate did not let them go. During the winter, the passengers encountered pneumonia and tuberculosis. By spring, 39 people had died, only 53 were alive. After all the passengers were temporarily settled in their new settlement, Captain William Bligh intended to return to England, but as nearly half of the crew had died of illness, William Bligh had to wait for the rest recover. It was not until April 14, 1621, that Mayflower set anchor. Thanks to the westerly winds, it reached London, England on May 16, 1621. Soon after, the Indians provided food and taught them to grow corn and hunt wild animals. For those who reached the Promised Land, without the help of the local Indians, teaching them how to exploit the land, to hunt, to raise livestock, to farm and other survival skills, all may have perished. Mrs. Amos, a Dutch resident, said, "On the hard ground in winter, we, both men and women with hose in hand, ducked our faces to avoid the cold winds, slashing at each blow. The hoe fell, the blade bounced back, numbing the hand, and the ground just broke into small pieces." Mr. Charles Roprock, the Englishman, continued, "At first everyone was surprised why the soil broke in winter, but the Indians explained to do so that when spring came, the seeds could be sown immediately because of that. Is the law of farming in this area. If we still do it the way in England, more people will die of hunger." In the fall of 1622, the settlers of the new land celebrated the first harvest with the Native Americans, and it was also America's first Thanksgiving, which has survived to this day. As one of the earliest ships to arrive in the United States after 66 days at sea, the Mayflower became a cultural icon in American history. Finally, the fate of the Mayflower ship, after the voyage brought people to the Promised Land, it returned to England and continued to make many more trips, but mainly just to transport goods along the British coast, Europe. In 1629, due to being too old, Mayflower was sold so that the new owner could disassemble it and use the wood as a warehouse to store wheat. Thanksgiving Day has become an integral part of the American people. Every year, on this day, Americans eagerly prepare everything to welcome a very solemn holiday. In Canada, Thanksgiving is celebrated on the second Monday of October. While in the UK, people only consider Thanksgiving as an occasion to warm up the Christmas season. In the US, people consider this holiday just as important as Christmas Day. Even in fact, many people in America celebrate Thanksgiving rather than Christmas. Thanksgiving Day is celebrated later on the last Thursday of November. In addition to the US and Canada, this holiday is also celebrated on a number of islands in the Caribbean and Liberia. Thanksgiving Day means at first to celebrate the harvest and to thank God for a full and peaceful life. It is also one of the official holidays for all statutory workers in the US and Canada. Today, Thanksgiving in the U.S. is also an important day for family members to get together. Because in the United States, usually people will have 4 days off on this occasion. In the United States, more than 50 million turkeys are brought to the table each year, and most of them are for Thanksgiving. To this day, no one has determined exactly why turkey was chosen as a traditional Thanksgiving dish in the U.S. Historians have a few theories. In letters from early American settlers, the historic meal between the settlers and the Wampanoag tribe consisted of beef and an assortment of chicken. Later, that meal became known as the First Thanksgiving. At that time, Edward Winslow wrote about a famous meal in 1621 referring to a turkey hunt before evening meal. Along with turkey, a number of other foods also appear on the table such as lemon sauce, meat sauce, mashed potatoes, candied sweet potatoes. Desserts are also added to the table, including a number of baked goods such as pumpkin pie, strawberry pie, and pecan pie. These dishes are pure dishes of New England, the cultural cradle of America. On the occasion of Thanksgiving, lots of activities are held these days, like in New York City. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is held every year in downtown Manhattan. The march was organized with special themes, or simulate scenes from Broadway plays with large balloons depicting famous cartoon characters or TV actors. Hope this video will help you know the meaning and origin of Thanksgiving Day in America. Thank you for watching today's video. If you find this video good, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to support ASK KPOP Entertainment to make more exciting videos.